I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I'm just not paying attention to anything we're doing right now.
But it's podcast time. Come on.
I know. I'm trying to get focused. I'm trying to get...
Put some effort into this. That matches the effort that we put into the show.
We really put a lot of effort into the show today.
We did.
We ate and
tried
talked
some
and
new
drank coffee.
that a new listener sent from Oklahoma. We did our food fight with the Oreo O's and the golden Oreo O's cereal. That was hard work.
Hey, listen, it was. Like, now I got to burn off all those calories.
We've done a lot.
Oh, we talked about the coffee. We talked about an article on depression rates rising, Little Caesars Bacon Wrap Pizza, Farscape, Apex Legends, how Instagram ruined the flowers.
Ruined the poppies.
And more talk on buffets. The buffet things are important.
I think so. And you know what? What do we get the most, like, interaction with you guys about? Like coffee, buffets, all the things that I imagine people are like, gosh, talking about food again. Then you guys stop interacting about it with us.
That is kind of a good point. Because
it's like that's all we hear.
If I told you something like, there's something really important we need to talk about and I really need your feedback, I'd get nothing. And I'm like, this coffee tastes crappy, or I love this coffee. And people are like, you suck. It's the best, or whatever.
It's really cute and funny. It's always about food and drinks.
Well, you guys can always hit us up. The video of our food fight is on our Facebook page.
Yeah, you can follow both of our pages. Of course, there's RadioU Riot. That's our show page. Also, the RadioU page is a good one to follow, too.
And you can see that there. What else we got, Nikki? That's all. So you guys listen and watch and hit us up and text us and say hello and
all the fun stuff. Riot.radiou.com is our center for everything. If you want to find out more that we do, it's all located there.
Yeah. Anything else you want to...
Have a great day.
You know what we should do?
What?
Okay. We should. Maybe we go one at a time so they don't notice. We should just leave, and then we'll go home and play the Division 2 all day.
Now, I see what you're saying there.
Yeah.
I don't have it, though, so I feel like it'd be a trick if you left first.
You'll need to buy it.
And you'd be like, no, I'll go first. You just cover for me, and then I am the one who ends up staying here.
You know what? I have a 3:00 deadline today that is like a hard deadline. Like, I have some stuff that I absolutely must get finished by 3 p.m. today. Yeah. Do you know how hard it is to not be able to procrastinate? To know that you have to? Somebody has to catch a flight. So, like, I have to get stuff done by 3:00 today.
But you procrastinated enough to where now you're actually at the deadline.
That's wrong, because I wasn't procrastinating. This deadline appeared yesterday around noon.
Okay.
And I was like, what the what?
Why is it such a quick deadline?
I was going to put this off.
Well, let's go to work then. Let's not do the Division 2. Let's go upstairs and have a meeting, and then let's go to work.
Man, you sure know how to show a guy a good time.
Get on in there. You ready? Whee!
Hands in.
Go team. Woo!
Bye.
What's worse than finding grounds in your coffee? Finding grounds in your coffee while listening to the Riot. It's the worst of the Riot on RadioU.
Now, look, I know that you know that I'm dumb. I know that you know that because you've listened to the show before and you've thought, that boy ain't right.
You're realistic listeners.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. A lot of honesty flowing in the room this morning. But you don't know how dumb I am. I want you to know that I pulled in, like, my car has that thing where it's like, you have 5 miles left.
Like on gas?
Yeah, like however long left on your gas tank. I pulled into the station, I have 0 miles left.
Yeah.
I've never gotten that low before.
I still feel there's some wiggle room.
I hope so.
I mean, because you're not far.
I'm like 2 miles from the gas station, maybe. So
why did you... Well, let's not talk about why did you let it get so low. Okay. That's not the time right now.
Well, okay. Mornings are like this. I swear to you, when I pulled into my house last night, I had like 40 miles. And I was like, you know what? That's plenty to go to the station. And then after the show, I can get gas. I'll be fine.
Sure.
And then when I came out to my car this morning, again, this is all very subjective, but I would swear that I lost 20 miles off the range right there. Like maybe after it's settled.
Maybe
my car was out driving itself last night.
Well, that's an option. Maybe got an updated reading during the night. Like it was just off.
And so I was like, crap. And when I try to work out before the show, there's a very narrow window. We're dealing with little, like 30 seconds matters kind of time frames, okay? And so I was like, I can get to the gym and the station. I'll be fine. So I got to the gym. And
because that's the only two things you said. Just the gym and the station. There was nothing else.
Yeah. And so.
But you needed to add the gas station.
You're right, I did. So one or two things happens. either my car, I go out to start it later and it just doesn't start at all.
Mm-hmm.
I get to the gas station, and I guess there's a third option. I get halfway to the gas station.
No, there's also another option. What if it resettles again while we're working, and then you get back and you have like 20 miles that you lost during the morning commute?
They put it back on. Have you ever been to zero?
I have. I turn everything off. You're like, no radio, no heat, no air conditioning, no nothing. And you're just like, Lord, you can do it. I'm sorry I was so low.
I'll never do this again.
I'll never do this again.
I repent of my actions.
It was my laziness before that it's landed me in this position, and I'm very sorry. And you're like, no one do anything. No one move.
The end is near.
Yeah.
I need that light to be green.
I need the gas station. And you just go.
Okay.
And just don't look at it. Just don't look at it.
That'll fix it.
What is it? Like you bury your head in the sand and hope and pray you'll get there and you'll be fine.
I feel great about what's going to happen later today.
Yeah.
I really do.
And that's why people land on the side of the road.
I had a dream that I ran out of gas the other day. I hope that was just a dream. Please just be a dream. It was a warning.
Of what's to come.
Is this the what will be or what may be?
If you were offended or disgusted by anything Obadiah said this morning,
if you weren't so dumb, I might be offended.
You must be new. You'll get used to it. The Riot on Radio U.
We're healthy in here, guys.
We are just fine, okay?
I wish you guys could have been in here.
Everybody's just
during
fine.
That song. All of the nose blowing and the coughing. And then I hear from Nikki, I dropped my peel.
I did drop my peel down on the floor. Oh, man.
I love where this is going. I do.
I'm excited. I feel like we're at our best we've ever been. Mm-hmm. And I'm just proud of us.
And we're thinking about changing our slogan to the #1 healthiest morning show. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Allergies, cold and sinus infection. Yay.
Wellness.
Woo.
Wellness.
It gets frustrating because you guys don't see how healthy we are most of the time.
Right.
But for some reason, when you get little sleep and then get up very early, your body's like, well, we're not going to. We're going to get worse again.
This isn't going to be the way we do things.
So get your pill that you dropped on the floor.
Get your pill.
And that's what we're doing.
Hey, speaking of pills, you know what? I want to say hi to...
He didn't put his first name.
He didn't put his first name.
But he's in Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's called us multiple times to let us know. Like, we've talked coffee, and then he was like, hey, I'm shipping coffee.
I think it was right before we talked about, like around Mardi Gras time, we had some coffee talk.
We did.
Where we talked about particular type of brands and blends that people like, and he swears by this stuff.
Yeah, it is a coffee and chicory. Now, the only thing...
By Community Coffee?
Family-owned Community Coffee.
And I've had few listeners tell us that Community Coffee is really good.
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen is I am going to go and brew this coffee. Now, there's only one slight concern that Nikki and I have.
When reading about chicory...
What we have been warned by many people is that when you eat or drink anything with chicory in it...
Though. Okay, it is a... delicately, how do we put this? Okay, you remember those? No, that's not a good example.
Okay.
It just can upset your stomach.
Let's just say, like,
I'll see the cost.
What's that sound? Nothing.
What do people
What's
say?
that smell?
You
Nothing.
Step on a duck or something.
Was that a purple mouse?
Yeah, what was that? I think you'll be fine. You're not going to have that much.
Well, Nikki, at the end of the day, it's really not, I'm not concerned about me. It's just that you and I are locked in this little room together. So you're the one, but then again, you got a stuffy nose.
I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Nikki's like,
I don't hear anything.
It's weird. How come the stickers are coming off the wall? No reason. No reason. Don't you worry. You just keep blowing your nose.
No problem.
It's fine.
All right. Go ahead and brew away. That's going to be great.
Okay. I'm going to go start making this stuff.
So it's Community Coffee. It's
coffee and chicory.
And it's supposed to be delicious.
That's what we heard. So
and medicinal.
We'll know soon enough.
It's both.
It's going to clean you out.
Leftovers from the most disgusting meal you've ever had. It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
Nikki, I've got news for you.
What is it?
First off, Do you have $400?
We could maybe come up with it, but
I just feel like we need to get. That's the first most important question.
But I can only answer that once I hear what you think might cost $400.
No, I need you to check your balance right now
and just give it to you.
Then give me the news.
Here you go.
Okay. The word is this. Later this year, Oculus, the virtual reality people, are going to be releasing their new headset called the Oculus Quest.
Now, this is the one that used to be on its own, but then got bought by Facebook.
And it will be a standalone VR headset. You don't need your phone. You don't need anything. And it will come with motion controllers. And they have announced that one of their launch games will be Beat Sabre.
Yay!
Which is something that you have wanted to play.
That is a very popular game. Was it last spring?
It was
summer?
last April when Beat Sabre launched.
And I've seen a lot of variations from it where basically pick a song, any song, and it's someone who's holding the virtual reality
lightsabers.
Handsets, yeah, and then they're using it as like a lightsaber to the music.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. Lots of fun. I've played it far less than I thought I would. But it is a lot of fun.
You also just don't play virtual reality as much.
I know. I keep meaning to. I got it back out about a month ago and spent about an hour with it, which sounds about right. You know what? It
takes about an hour to set up.
Well, that is one of the things about it that is a pain. Is that it's not a matter of throw it on for 10 minutes. It's like, okay, get the sensor set up. Got it. And finally putting it on. And by the time you're done setting it up, you're like, and I'm done.
But for the new Oculus, it won't be like that. You just put it on.
You just put it on and go.
So that's what they're hoping will maybe make virtual reality an actual experience you go back to doing.
I feel like if it was just that simple, I would probably play with it a lot more.
It's $400?
$400, which is
it's not the worst. It's not the worst,
but it's not cheap.
It's not cheap, but it's not the worst when it comes to some of this virtual reality.
So I'm curious to hear what people will have to say about it when it launches. Not curious enough to buy it. You understand?
You don't want to sell your old one and then move into a newer one?
I don't think so. I think I'm just gonna. The smart play would be to right now sell what I have.
Yes, if you want anything out of it.
That's the smart play. But there's just this part of me that's like, you know what? Who has the energy anymore?
Who has the time?
Who wants to screw with it? Why do I need the new one when I don't play with the old one very much?
Yeah, but you don't play with the old one very much because it's harder. And if you want anything out of it,
I know.
You should sell it way before the other one comes out.
I know, I hear you.
Hopefully you're finding someone who has not yet heard the news we just talked about.
Right.
And who's okay with buying the one that you have.
Yeah. Everything you're saying is making perfect sense.
It makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
One day you're going to wake up and be like, I should have sold it.
You're right about that. What you just said
will 100%
absolutely happen.
Because when the new Oculus Rift comes out, then you'll be tempted.
Yep, that's right.
So
come on.
Okay, he just has to make that decision.
The riot used to be 3 people.
Please tell me we're not discussing video games again.
The other guy didn't make it. It's the riot.
I have here this community coffee and chicory. Rich and flavorful.
Oh, side note, remember the show Community?
Oh, yeah.
That had some funny moments.
Oh, more than one.
But, all right. Long time ago.
You know what we should do? Let's shut down and just go watch it.
Just go find some clips.
Let's just go watch Community.
I think I liked they built a fort once, and that was one of my favorites.
Fort one?
But every time we talk about this coffee, I think about that show, and I think about the fort.
So this is coffee and chicory, which means it's not just coffee, right? There's chicory in it.
Yeah, chicory's in it. And then it's one of our listeners from Oklahoma. He was so nice enough. He loves the stuff enough. And we've been talking coffee for the last couple of weeks. And a few of you guys had mentioned community coffee. And this was the flavor that he likes the most.
So if you don't know, chicory is a woody, perennial, herbaceous plant of the dandelion family. So,
sounds good. And
right.
It's supposed to be good without anything added to it.
It is. I will tell you, I'm drinking it black, and it's the blackest coffee I've ever seen.
And maybe that's chicory.
And I'm not kidding either. When I poured it out of the carafe, I was just like, wait,
did you make it too
strong?
Is it too strong?
Maybe, but let's find out here.
So thanks again for sending it to us.
It is good.
Is it? What's
it
taste like, though? What's the aftertaste of chicory?
It is difficult to explain. This is going to sound dumb, but it seems like I feel it more than I taste it. that make any sense? There's like a sensation.
You know it's there?
There's like a sensation on my tongue, but I can't quite nail it down to a flavor. It's very smooth.
Yeah.
Especially for as black as it is. You would almost expect it to be bitter, but it's not bitter. That's pretty good. Like there's some bitterness, but I mean it's coffee.
I mean it's normal.
Yeah, you know what? I'm having a hard time describing that. But it has a very different quality to it that I feel like moves past the taste. And it's not but it's also not quite texture. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it is texture. You're just not really used to explaining texture in liquid, but there's something about it that is different. But it tastes
smooth.
It's very smooth, which like sometimes that's a great thing, right? Doesn't seem very acidic like some coffee can be. Let's see. Let's give her another whirl.
Is it too hot or can you swish it around? Aren't you supposed to swish?
That is interesting. I don't particularly find it delicious.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, it is good.
And I feel like you'll keep drinking it.
Well, that's the thing. You know how sometimes something that is just good, like the right kind of really good, is better than something that's amazing?
Yeah.
How you can just keep going back to that? It feels like that. Like I can already tell I'm going to drink a bunch of this coffee this morning.
Thank you again for sending us it's from Community Coffee. Community's the company.
Yeah.
And one of our listeners in Oklahoma sent us their coffee and chicory flavor.
Oh, you know what's funny is now I'm looking at the package. It says guaranteed rich, smooth flavor.
Pretty much.
You know
Spot
what?
on.
I'll just tell you right now.
On.
Nailed it. They got it.
That's funny.
They got it. So, Community Coffee. Born in New Orleans and raised on 4 generations of coffee expertise.
Channy, thanks for texting. Says roasted chicory is the closest to a coffee flavor you can get without it being an actual coffee. So, chicory coffee is a coffee-flavored coffee.
Coffee-flavored coffee?
It's eating itself.
It is eating itself.
Thank you for texting that.
Well, all right. Carry on, everyone.
Let's take all of the most mind-numbing things the Riot has ever said and play them again.
It's a stupid idea, but I love it.
It's the Riot on Radio U.
I'm reading an article here from, the Institute for Family Studies. And what they have done is they've got an article here that is going over depression and suicide rates among those between the ages of 16 and 30. And what they have found, and okay, let's be clear. You can make statistics say just about anything that you want.
Sure.
If you ever take a stats class, it's one of the things you learn. But I don't get the feeling that they're massaging statistics. They're trying to make a point, which, of course, that's why you would massage statistics. You know what? Just listen to it.
We get what you're saying.
Okay. So the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services did the National Survey on Drug Use and Health. And so the idea was they wanted to get a representative sample of the American population, and they sampled 600,000 Americans, all ages, all health levels, just a random sampling of America. And here's what they found. In 20 to 21-year-olds, the rate of major depression has doubled in the last 10 years. So it went from 7% of 21-year-olds experiencing major depression to 15% of 20 to 21-year-olds experiencing it. Depression between 16 and 18-year-olds went from, I don't have that, but basically it went up 69%. So instead of doubling, it half there. It almost made it to doubling. And then we have twice as many people from 21 to 23 that attempted to commit suicide in 2017 versus 2008. And so the article goes on, in a lot of ways, they're just kind of like, hey, we can't necessarily point to what's going on because this I found fascinating. Homework rates are lower because people are recording, like people between the ages of 16 and 21 are reporting higher levels of stress, saying that school is harder. There's a lot more academic pressure, et cetera, et cetera. But they are saying that, like, if you look, the amount of homework that's required is less, and they've got a few other things that they kind of list out. And by the time you get through the article, the only thing that they are looking at, and no one's going to like this, but this is the thing that a lot of health professionals are saying is we can only find one thing that seems to be truly unique about this generation.
Oh, I know what it's going to be.
What's it going to be, Nikki?
Social media?
Social media.
That's it. That's the link that binds us all.
They say that social media, especially access through your phone, seems to be the thing that is causing such a high rate of anxiety and depression, causing it to increase at such large rates across time. Because, again, they can point to the proliferation of social media because it literally exists on a calendar. You can say, like, okay,
this is the start of it.
This is when this started. And, you could argue, like, well, yeah, but, like, you can't prove that.
Yeah, you kind of can.
So I guess reading this, here was my thought, is maybe give yourself some time off. First off, depression and anxiety are real. It's not something that is made up. I can tell you as someone that, like, I have taken medication for it and I've been in treatment for it. Like, depression is a real thing. I don't care what anybody tells you. It's not something you did wrong, and it's not something that is your fault and, like, all this stuff. So if you need some treatment for it, I highly recommend that you go out and get it. It has been, getting professional treatment for depression has been a huge help to me. It has been a huge, huge help. But the other thing you might do is, when you're in the middle of treatment, is take a look and say, like, okay, part of, like, what is causing part of this? And I know this is tough, but you might just need to unplug some. That is something that for me in treatment and just honestly just examining life, I have done. I have taken steps to just unplug. Yeah, and think to myself, a lot of times I find myself, like, I'll be alone doing something, and it's like, ooh, I wonder what other people would think about this. And it's like, it doesn't matter.
Well, if you're dealing with a lot of the same stuff and you are a fan of social media, you have to realize that could be hurting you.
Yeah. So something to think about this morning. And I would just tell you again, we're seeing depression rates among 16 to 20-year-olds. Basically, this is a larger state, like doubling. Like, it's getting worse. And so if you are somebody this morning, depression, anxiety, I want you to know you're not alone. And there's nothing wrong with reaching out and saying, hey, I need some help. Because believe it or not, it actually can get better. I'm telling you, it can get better. I still struggle at times, but things have gotten better for me. I know they can get better for you, too.
Think Obadiah owns too many video games?
Get us out of here! Roger that!
Well, maybe you'll think differently when... Okay, you're right. There's no conceivable scenario where anyone needs that many. The Riot on RadioU.
Everybody got something to say this morning, so let's check in with some of these wonderful text messages. Jeff got in. Oh, and while we're at it, you can text too.
Oh, anytime.
877-2-RADIO-U. Jeff says, community makes great coffee. The Chicory just gives it a stronger taste. Too bad you don't have any nets to enjoy with your coffee.
Beignets.
What's that?
Beignets.
Is that thing in the bathroom that you...
That's a bidet.
Oh, it's different.
It's different. Those are those, like, pillowy soft treats.
First
that
off,
are very...
calling them pillowy soft makes me really want one.
I know, they're fluffy and they're covered with powdered sugar and they're very popular. You go to New Orleans and you eat those.
Well, I'll have one.
Yes, that's why it'd be good with the coffee. A listener in Oklahoma sent us this coffee and chicory from Community, and that's what he's having this morning.
Tim, who says, don't quote me on this, so that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Put the quotes up.
He says, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law went to New Orleans on their honeymoon. They got chicory coffee for us there as well. He said that chicory coffee originated during the Great Depression. They would mix in the chicory with coffee beans because chicory tastes a lot like coffee and it's cheaper. Don't quote me on that.
So they kind of bump it up with that?
Yes.
And then someone else had texted and said that style of chicory coffee is usually served with a sweet cream when it's iced.
That kind of makes me want to go get
some creamer and put it in there.
Some creamer, yeah. Like, why not, right?
Go on in the break room.
So, and then we also heard from somebody who was asking about anxiety, saying like, hey, because we just read an article about social media and anxiety, and they were saying, hey, like, I feel like my anxiety doesn't come from social media, it comes from school. And I will say that, hey, just because some people experience anxiety or depression from social media, you can experience it from lots of different things. I mean, like, for example, coworkers that are very hard on you, always looking down.
Is that the worst? Is that it? Is that the worst?
You know what? Hang on.
Uh-huh.
They're overly critical of you.
Oh, yeah. Boy, how are you doing it? How are you making it?
All I'm trying to say is that there are lots of different
factors.
Yeah, I mean, you could struggle with anxiety because of a chemical imbalance. You can struggle with it because of environmental factors, or like past trauma. And there's just like a lot of things that can cause you to have depression or anxiety. It's seldom like, hey, there's one thing. But that's one of the great things about, reaching out and getting some help is that you can either A, learn some coping mechanisms, or B, like all the stuff you do, like you can get some help for that. And again, that's something I've done. It's been super helpful. But just because you read one article that says it comes from this doesn't mean that's the only thing that can be causing anxiety and or depression and all those kinds of things. So just because you hear one thing on the radio from a guy who is not a doctor, by the way, don't just be like, well, then it's all crap. No, go find somebody that actually knows what they're talking about.
Unless you're hearing us talk about the chicory coffee, then, well, you might be right on that.
I'm going to go put some creamer in it. I never drink creamer anymore, but that might be good.
I would stick some ice in it and add some creamer and see if it's good.
I don't want to put ice in it.
Well,
I still want it to be warm.
Yeah, you want the official, that's how they do it.
You want ice in it. That's what I think. Well, yes,
and I want you to walk in and I want to hear it. I want you shaking the cup up, mixing it up.
Mm-hmm. I think what you really just want is some water.
You're hearing it for the first time, and it sounds terrible.
It's the worst of the riot on RadioU.
I don't know what I think about this.
What?
Well, I just don't know if I need this, and yet at the same time, something inside me says, shut up, you do.
Because you wouldn't be talking about it if you didn't feel a little like you did.
Something inside me. It sparks joy. It does.
And what are we supposed to do with things that spark joy?
Those are the things we bring home.
That's the stuff. Well, okay, now wait. I think technically that's only what we keep if we already own it.
Well, I think when I tell you what it is, you'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, I see.
But you have to already have it for it to spark joy.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's a trick. It's a trap. Because then we'd be buying everything that we're not supposed to buy.
Oh, that's not true, Nikki. There's lots of things that don't spark joy. For example, here's Barbie in the Great Puppy Race or something. That doesn't spark joy. I'm not buying that.
Yeah, but you're supposed to keep things in your life that spark joy if you own them.
Well, how are you supposed to get things in your life that spark joy if you don't buy them first?
In the first place? What are you looking at?
I'm looking at Little Caesars bacon-wrapped pizza.
Well, a lot of people might say that sparks joy.
See what I mean?
I never had it before, but they're bringing it back, they said.
You know what? I didn't have it before either, which is why I'm fascinated as I look at it, because bacon-wrapped pizza came and went. You know what? Okay.
Can we also say this, and I mean this in the nicest way, but how is Little Caesars around? Is it still?
I'll tell you right now how they're around. I figured it out.
They know what they're doing and who they're going for and what they're going for.
When's the last time you went to a Little Caesars
The
pizza?
one time I got sick. It was 2 years ago.
Because
the pizza made me sick.
If you go into a Little Caesars, yes, they pull you in the door with the $5 pizza.
Yeah.
But they're already upselling you as soon as you get in there. It's like $5 pizza, yeah, but if you want the delicious more pizza, that's $6.
It's only $1 more.
And the sad part is, I will tell you, for that $1, it is a much better pizza.
Is it?
Surprisingly, shockingly better for $6 than $5. I don't know, whatever. So there's that. Then they got you on the crazy bread. And then don't you want a little dipping sauce? And then what would be really good is, and blah, 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 blah. They always have the whole upsell thing that they're doing for you. And I've done that. I've gone in there because I tried their deep dish because it looks like a Jets pizza, which I love.
Oh, the crust.
Let me tell you what, it doesn't taste like one. It looks just like it.
That's why we're not supposed to go by looks.
But it doesn't taste anything like it.
So in this Little Caesars bacon pizza, the bacon is basically wrapped around the side. And
it does outside. It's a deep dish pizza.
It is. But so is there no crust? Is the bacon around the crust, or is the bacon the crust?
As I understand it, there is crust, and they just glue the bacon on the outside of it. So...
Looks to be about right.
And then, so I just feel like it's one of those things where I get it. You're like, oh, this is so great, bacon, pizza. But in reality, it's you're barely going to notice it's there. Right?
Because it's so baked into it.
And it's just on the end of the crust. When you're taking a bite out of the middle, you're not going to be like, oh, the bacon. You won't even know it's there.
That's true, but it's a gimmick.
It is a gimmick, and you know what? It's going to sell pizzas.
Aaron says, okay, Little Caesars is amazing. One of my favorites because of the price and the taste. It's the literal best of both worlds.
Aaron.
Thank you, Aaron, for texting. We appreciate thoughts and feelings and views of all natures.
Julia says, my boyfriend lives on Little Caesars. Hey, Julia, not for long.
It might not be forever.
So just
be aware.
Just a heads up.
You might want to have him branch out a little bit.
Don't get too attached to him. Okay? Because, things are going to end.
Aww.
Kristen, once a week we get 2 large thin crust, extra most bestest. That's their thing.
Oh, from
Pepperoni
Little
pizzas
Caesars?
And a 2-liter for $14.
Dude, is everyone going? Is this like everyone's non-hidden shame? We're all going to eat Little Caesars pizza every week?
Well, it's funny. I saw this article and I was like, you know what? I should do that tonight.
You're going to go get Little Caesars?
$6. Don't even need to order it. Just stumble in there like, yeah, help me. Yeah, pizza. Amanda says, my daughter loves Little Caesars. It's her favorite, and I'm okay because it's only $5. I get me an expensive pizza, and she gets her own.
That's how you do that.
See, I actually think that's how Little Caesars stays in business. Children. Because they're just like...
But that's what we all are.
We
all are children. We all are just acting like that.
Well, I just think it's sad how all of us are just like, you know what? Here, just take the $5, whatever. Shove something in my mouth. Here's $5.
Gimme. And do we have a dipping sauce for it?
I don't even care.
Kristen said it's great. Had it last night.
Yeah, let's see. Nick, our news guy, says Little Caesar's thin crust is the poor man's Donatos.
Aww.
You know what, though?
But everybody's fine with it.
He's on to something there. Hey, sometimes for the money,
we're all okay with it.
Listen, I know what I'm in for when I drop $5 on a pizza. Though, I'm telling you, going to $6 for the extra most bestest.
That's really what it's called?
And I'm pretty sure that actually is the technical term. Well, hey, if you want bacon-wrapped Little Caesars, this Thursday is when it launches. Or relaunches,
Or you could just get a pizza and wrap it around yourself.
You totally could. Brandon says, I ordered 11 pizzas for my son's birthday party. They stacked them in my arms and didn't even get the door.
That's the service that you expect.
You only paid $5 per pizza, Brandon. What did you think they were going to do?
You know that what we spend that extra money for at the other places is for the customer service?
Mm-hmm. It seems to me that when there are a lot of people around, Little Caesars, everybody's in.
You remember that time you started your morning with a gas station breakfast sandwich and immediately regretted it? Yeah, it's like that. The Riot. RadioU.
One of those things, I don't know if you guys are like this, but when I always hear about something, you're like, ooh, I want to check that out. But then there are just those things that you've always thought like, oh, I wanted to check that out. And then you forget about them because let's face it, there's a new show every day dropping on Netflix, Amazon, or Hulu. Plus, you've got whatever new albums you're trying to get to. Plus, there's a new video game. Then you've got a couple of friends that are talking about an album. And then that's just the streaming stuff. Then it's like you got to go to the theater and catch what's new. On and on and on and on.
It's a full-time job.
It's like a never-ending just stream of content to make sure that you don't have one single original thought at any point, any day. Just consume. I get it. Me too, right? That's my goal, is to not think and just consume, which this may help me, Nikki. I have heard rumors of this show, I feel like my whole life, but I've never seen it, ever.
What is it?
It's called Farscape.
Farscape?
Farscape goes far. Get it?
The
Fargate.
Okay, wait. What is it?
No, it's Farscape. SCAPE.
Is it a TV show?
It is. It's a sci-fi TV show that I have heard people talk about it like it's this legendary thing. Like it was this cult classic. A lot of people have seen it, but they canceled it early. A lot of people, they just talk about it with this reverence of
Farscape.
Dude, Farscape. So
looks like it was from 1999 to 2003.
Yeah. So I have been kind of digging in here, right? So it was made by, this is what blows my mind. It was on the Sci-Fi Channel, but it was made by Hallmark and the Jim Henson Company.
Well, I guess that's a combination.
That sounds weird, right? First off, anything from Hallmark, I don't want to see it. And yet, at the same time, here we go.
It was an Australian-American science fiction show, too.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it says here.
Oh, man, that's two things I don't like. Australia
Stop
and Hallmark.
He's so teasing. Look at him troll you guys. Look at him doing that.
But
I want to make sure you realize he was just teasing.
The big hook here, I want to go to Australia, but we'll get into why later. But it has been remastered in HD and is available on Amazon Instant Video today.
Ooh, like literally starting today.
Like today is the day.
Ew, it looks old and sci-fi, guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it is.
That's what it is.
Are you gonna watch it or?
I don't know. I mean,
sure. How bored are you?
I like talking about watching it.
Well, why don't you maybe just see if anybody else has watched it, is it worth it, and maybe just pick an episode.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. If somebody cares enough, somebody sell me on this.
Someone, if you have watched from the 1990s, any of the old Farscape episodes, if you could let Obi know which episode to watch, just one. I don't want him getting into this.
You got to give him credit. The creature effects look good.
Well, that's because it was the Jim Henson thing.
Right. So that's the thing. It also looks like it was shot with a VHS camera. It's got that cheap, that like cheap look where it's not like.
No, that was normal then.
I know, but it's not like 50s cheap. It's 90s cheap. And 90s cheap, I feel like, is the worst looking thing. Like, it is just the worst. It's that weird washed out colors and like.
So is that a no then?
Well, but maybe in HD it'll look better and I'll be fine with it.
Why don't you just log in and watch it?
All right, I'll check it out now.
Okay.
Let's play some music and pretend we're working.
As Obi watches, just from
Farscape, get it?
Farscape, this old Australian-American TV show.
Made by the Hallmark Channel, the Hallmark people, and the Jim Henson Company.
It's right on top of things, aren't you?
Man, we have the best time in here. Like, only the best stuff, guys.
Connor says just watch Firefly.
Oh, come on. I've seen Firefly 100 million times. It's the best, okay? It's the best.
Your morning, but without yelling, laughing, or music.
Don't deprive me of that.
We wouldn't dream of it. It's The Riot on Radio U.
The Riot.
Food fight.
Nikki, I just want to, for the record, tell you that I'm clicking record, and it says, the system cannot. That's what it says.
Try it again.
I've tried 3 times.
It's not going to?
It keeps saying, Nikki and I record these, and it's supposed to be for Radio U TV. And
you can join us now if you want, and you can watch through Radio U Riot on Facebook and Radio U, and it's there. But in order to put it on YouTube, that's a different thing.
I remembered.
Oh, that's a shame. Try it.
Okay, do you have the little thing open?
I absolutely see it, and I see that you're having problems.
It's not my fault.
It's not your fault. You tried.
I remembered.
Thank you for trying. We are doing a Riot food fight. This is the Oreo O's, which is a newer, there's been Oreo cereal before, but this one is newer. But even newer than that, the golden Oreo O's cereal is also a thing. And so we're going to do a Riot food fight to try both of them.
Nikki, I feel like you have been more than a little interested in this food fight.
We've been waiting
every
a while.
Once in a while, something comes along that I just feel like Nikki is just very
I like Oreos. You want to try the chocolate ones first?
Yes.
So
why not?
When we do a Riot food fight for cereal, which this has been the year of cereal for 2019, we have to try dry, and then we add something to it.
Yeah. So this is like, quote unquote, regular Oreos.
Mm-hmm. But it does taste like the Oreo cookie, but you're missing kind of the cream filling, which is supposed to be the little dusting around.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I don't think it tastes anything like an Oreo.
But it has that chocolate aftertaste of it.
So what? All
right, put that on the box, why don't you? Sir, what's your thoughts on this cereal?
So what?
Okay.
So,
perfect.
It tastes like somebody took the chocolate Lucky Charms filling and just put some sugar on it. Like, there's nothing Oreo-like about it.
Well, here's the thing that you have to realize. This is just a chocolate cereal flavor. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And that's all they can really make.
No, Nikki. They can do better. They need to do better.
We're not going to open up the box and end up having, little actual Oreos.
That's what it should be.
But they're not going to.
We should just take a thing of Oreos, crunch it up, put it in a bowl, put some milk on it, done. Now that's an Oreo cereal.
Why wouldn't they make it that way? Maybe it can't, shelf life or something.
Because society, Nikki.
It's hard to have you yelling or just, intense with a Oreo cereal cup in front of you.
Well, what do you think?
It's better with something on it.
It seems a little better with milk, but,
outside of that, though, I'd rather have an Oreo.
I don't like watching myself eat. My cheeks are kind of big.
That's the cereal.
Before.
That's not you. That's the cereal. Okay. Don't feel bad. Let's try the golden ones, though.
Yeah, no, these are the ones that I feel like really you're on board for.
I am.
Okay. So wait, let's get a smell.
I can't smell with my cold.
Smells like, oddly, like a maple.
That's a
weird smell. I can't quite nail that down.
Well, the Golden Oreo O cereal tastes like any other cereal.
That is the most generic flavored cereal.
I know, isn't it?
It literally is like, what is it?
Do you remember the donut cereal we had from Post a few weeks ago or like earlier in the year?
Yeah.
It's a lot like it if you just take that glaze that they put on top of it away. But this is pretty generic cereal tasting.
Like the most generic.
Both flavors. Who made it? Post?
Yeah.
Post, man. I don't think you gave your A game.
Well, let me tell you what.
I think you're like, hey, we already have the golden flavor, don't we?
Well, the thing is, Nikki and I know for a fact that the Post S'mores cereal is one of the best cereals in the history of mankind. It blew my mind.
He loves that stuff.
It's so good. It's so good.
All right, last bite of the Golden Oreos.
Did you put some milk on it?
I did.
All right, I'm doing that now.
It's a lot like the donut cereal to me.
Well, it's the same company.
It's the same company, and I could tell you they just took whatever glaze they took off of that donut thing and put it on and just serve this plain. It's pretty boring. Both of them are pretty boring.
If I sat you down and I fed this to you, there's no chance that you could identify what I was feeding you.
That it was a golden Oreo?
No way. I could give it to you and say, hey, these are Fruit Loops. And you'd be like, yeah.
All right.
They sure are.
Yeah, they are. Where'd the coloring go?
They taste just like bland Fruit Loops. It's amazing.
Oh, with so much cereal coming out this year, all these like exotic flavors and this and that. At the heart of it, it's still just a little piece of cereal with flavoring put on it.
They need to just come out and just be like, all right, look.
They can't really enhance. I feel like we've hit the ceiling.
It's a different colored poof. And that's the best we can do.
They've hit the ceiling of innovation with cereal.
That's all we have. It's a different colored poof.
So the Oreo O's and then the golden Oreo O's cereal from Post.
I mean, that being said,
none of it's terrible. It's just very...
It's not like bad.
Very generic.
Yeah. It's like the Riot, really.
Then why aren't we all over this? We should be loving it.
No. I think it's self-loathing that has us.
We also wondered why the Oreo O cereal comes in a smaller size box than the Golden Oreos. And the Golden Oreos, it's not like it says family size, but why is this one bigger?
I don't know. Maybe they feel like they need to get you to try the new golden ones.
So they got to entice you with a few more ounces of cereal?
It does say new on that one, and this is just... It doesn't say old, but it is old.
No, they're all like the new line. So, Well, thank you for humoring us as we eat our cereal this morning.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
Okay, keep eating.
I will. I haven't had breakfast yet, so.
Don't forget, you can also always join us if you want to watch our food fights at RadioU Riot on Facebook or follow the RadioU page on Facebook, too.
And don't look at our YouTube channel because you won't find this one there because technical problems.
Didn't work. Thanks for watching, though, or listening wherever.
Believe it or not, the Riot doesn't have an endorsement deal with Nabisco. They just keep talking about all the new Oreo flavors for free. It's the Riot on Radio U.
Everybody's wondering about Apex Legends Battle Pass. Now, what is that? Apex Legends was the free-to-play game that launched back on like February 5th. It's from the people that made Titanfall, and it's gotten wildly popular. They've had over 50 million downloads, which, yes, it's true. That's not as many as Fortnite, but it continues to do well. And, of course, one of the big questions that has been around is like, yeah, it's free to play, but when that season pass shows up, what's it going to cost me? Now, of course, you can continue to play for free.
So with the season pass, that just updates new things if you want to? Or?
Well, you'll get a bunch of stuff with it. And, Nikki, let's face it. Little looter shooters.
You gotta have your accessories, don't you guys?
That's actually what it is. I hate to break it to you, but do you know what skins are? I'll tell you what they are. You're dressing up your virtual dolly. That's what you're doing. I have a little doll.
Everybody's
and I dress
doing it,
them up.
though. And everybody's fine with it.
I know that, but I'm just telling you that at some point in your life, you probably made fun of somebody for buying clothes for their doll. That's what you're doing.
This is doing.
You're buying clothes for your doll. So the Wild Frontier Pass, which shows up today, $9.50.
It's not bad.
950 Apex coins, which is their in-game currency, but it comes out to $9.50. The other thing they're offering is a bundle, and for what looks like probably $28, it unlocks some more stuff, and you'll get the next battle pass for free, quote unquote.
That's
but
today.
I mean, in reality, you're just buying it in advance. But yeah, those both hit today for $9.50 or 2,800 Apex coins, which unlocks.
Let me get my purse.
Go right ahead. Did you bring your Apexes?
I brought my coins.
Yeah. So that, to me, it's just interesting because we finally find out what they're going to charge for their stuff. It's basically $10 like everyone else.
Turn it up loud enough and your neighbors will call the cops. Because it's obviously a cry for help. It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
You have to ask yourself, what's the most important thing? And the most important thing is the perfect picture.
What would you do to get that perfect picture?
What would you be willing to do to get the perfect picture?
Heaven help you if you own or you're a part of an area where they feel like people could get the perfect picture. Because you remember, it was recently the sunflower fields in Canada.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
And they ruined them.
Literally destroyed them. It was this area in Canada that had these beautiful sunflower fields, and then it just became an overnight sensation. They said like thousands and thousands and thousands of people would be coming each day to go and take their picture in the sunflower fields. And they basically would just be destroying them. They would just trample over them. Well, a town, Lake Elsinore in Southern California, over the weekend, their problem was they had a poppy super bloom in their area.
Okay. What's a super bloom?
So basically in Southern California, they've had a lot of rain, extremely heavy winter rainfall. And so the poppies bloomed, but because they had so much water, they super bloomed.
They bloomed big.
Yeah, so basically it was beautiful. The whole area of their town, which is a smaller town, was just covered in poppies. And it became an Instagram location to go to. And so finally, they've had to close with the hashtag Poppy shutdown and hashtag Poppy apocalypse because officials are now closing the access to Walker Canyon, which is where the poppies were, because of so many traffic problems. They called it Disneyland amounts of people coming to see these poppies.
What I think is great is I actually enjoy pictures of people taking pictures.
Yeah.
Because it shows us how stupid we really are. You see these people posing for these photos, and you can't deny that, photos look great. Like, look how great that photo is. But I feel like when you take one step back and you see the person taking the picture, it completely demystifies the photo.
Well, in this poppy case, like there were pathways for people to take, but with so many people wanting to get pictures, they started trampling the flowers. People got hurt. There was too much traffic for the local area. And if you look at the photos, it's not just like a couple people on the hillside.
It's crazy.
It's thousands of people on the hillside, and they're all trying to get these photos. So they've closed it off, but it was beautiful to see, but now they're not letting people in.
Yeah. So hope you got it. Look at this guy doing yoga in the poppies.
Everybody was trying to get the shot. Had to. But if you go and look down and you see the traffic,
it's crazy.
Like, that's a small town. It's not built to be able to handle so many people coming in. And it was just thousands of people.
Man.
So no more for the poppies.
It's so funny. I love the idea. Okay, look, I get it. I work in content production. I get it. But just the idea of like, dude, let's go out there and get a picture of me. All right.
Okay, let's go.
You want to come out and get a picture of me? Like, wait, what? No. A picture of me. Oh, okay. I'll take a picture of you too.
So no more for the Super Bloom for Walker Canyon. No viewing, no visiting, no shuttles, no nothing. It's closed.
You did it.
Do you know what you guys did? You ruined it. So now no one gets to go.
Man, it really does feel like your mom just came in and is like, well, no one gets to play with the toy.
Now you can't have it because several people ended up ruining it. They just cannot handle it. It's beyond their resources.
Thanks, Mom.
If Nikki sounds a little bored this morning, it's because Obadiah is still talking.
Too much talking.
It's the Riot on Radio U.
Talking.
So I'm not going to get into all the details of what I'm looking at here because, to be honest, there's just too much
to it.
But this is from the Post and Courier. It is a newspaper and website in South Carolina, and it is basically all about what they say are the absolutely terrible things that have gone on in sheriff's departments around South Carolina and all of the money laundering that goes on.
Really?
And they say that it's just insane.
Just
like
a thing?
Yeah. But I just got to tell you right now, I think I'd like to get in on some of this.
It's too late now. It's been found.
I know it's too late because here is, oh my gosh, this is so great. This one sheriff.
Yeah.
Okay. Has a company credit card, which is sheriff's department, whatever. In the audit, they found that he spent $10,600 at the Golden Corral.
Oh, yeah. That's your sheriff, man. That's your man right there.
Let me tell you something right now.
Spinning well, isn't he?
I actually
Over
don't.
how many years?
I don't think a year.
So is he, how much is he buying for people?
I assume he must be taking people with him. I'm also assuming that he goes there twice a day. Because, what Golden Corral, let's say that eating at Golden Corral is $10. So he spent, what did we say?
What would that math be?
$10,000. So at $10 a day, that's still 1,000 days. Mm-hmm. So if he goes twice a day, that marks
down to 500
days. Yeah, he's got to be bringing some friends. I want to be that friend. I always go with Sheriff Bob. He buys my lunch all the time.
So for money laundering, they're just not acknowledging or calling him on what he's been spending his money on?
Well, they are now.
But it just took a long...
Back in 2015.
They weren't doing that then?
He had the best year of his life.
Spending well. He probably gained the most weight. That's when you can tell someone's laundering the money.
Yeah, they're just literally getting fat. It's not like, no.
Fat
this
with
guy,
cash? No, both in weight and money.
He spent $10,000 at the Golden Corral and then another $1,000 at Just Sweats, everyone's favorite sweatpants retailer.
Love it there. Love it.
Because finally, it was all he could do. He's moved on to bed sheets now. But he's well fed.
Okay, he's good.
That's pretty exciting right there.
Did they disclose any other things that he spent his money on, or was that the big one?
I went to Puerto Rico for about $1,700. He also went to some conference where he received a kukri knife, which apparently was really expensive. Wow. Okay, now, one gets the idea that this is probably just straight up laundering. They bought 400 insulated mugs to the tune of $5,200.
Was that for gifts?
I don't know.
Here we'd be like, oh, those are RadioU mugs, which we're selling for our store. But
oh, my gosh.
It must have been gifts.
Their Christmas party?
Yeah.
$23,000.
Whoa! What are they doing? Well, money was no option. No
1, 2,
no problem.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, just to let you know, I'm looking here. Here's a photo of 7 sheriffs at the Golden Corral. So, maybe they only went a couple times a week.
But he was paying.
Fantastic.
So, money laundering, it's a problem.
Man, seriously, every time I turn around, people are getting caught. I get it. But some people are living pretty good for a little while.
They've been doing that for a while. Finally, someone got them.
Okay. When are we going back to Golden Corral? It's been years.
I know, but I think it's 2. Last time was so bad. Why are we going back then?
Because
I want to find a new buffet place.
I want us to go for a retox.
Are there any other buffet places?
Well, is that or the wing buffet? We don't even go to the wing buffet anymore.
No, we don't, because we keep getting sick when we go.
I know. I get sick every time we go.
It could be we're eating too much of the wing place or the buffet place.
That's not it.
Or the food's just not as good when they just stick it out there.
We should go back to Golden Corral.
I want to go to a new buffet place.
No.
I want someone who's just been like, here's my take on the new millennial buffet.
What even is that? It would suck.
It'd be different. No, I want something different.
Guac and corn-fed butter or whatever.
Yes, I want that.
No.
Yeah, all the avocado toast we can have.
I want honey spread and those weird buns.
No, I want someone else
and
to try.
The bourbon chicken that, it's not bourbon chicken.
I want a place where they're trying a little bit more.
I want to go to a place where they've given up.
And they call it like a buffet. They just, shorten it. I want one of those places.
You know what? Okay. Well, you know what? There are lots of days in the week. We'll pick a Thursday and a Friday.
We'll find them.
We'll do Golden Corral on Friday because you're going to need the weekend to recover.
So we'll find something. If anybody has any other buffets that they like to go to, please let us know.
Hometown buffet.
Is that still a thing?
I don't know. That's all I could think of.
Sounds like one.
What about Ryan's Steakhouse?
Are those still around?
I don't know.
So that's why I would like other people to tell us some options of some places that are actually open.
Nikki and Obadiah. Obadiah and Nikki.
Love, hate, hate, love.
All right, everyone in, let's go.
It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
I'm concerned. I am legitimately concerned because Nikki and we asked you to text us with your buffet ideas. 877-2-RADIO-U.
Not necessarily ideas, but I want to know names of buffet places that are good because, boy, it's hit or miss.
Chris says, he hit us up on Facebook. He says, the way Nikki just said, I want to go to a new buffet, sounds like the girl in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory when she says, I want it now.
No, that's not it.
That means nothing to me.
I want the golden egg. No.
Okay. All right. Okay. D says, and this is technically the winning answer, Walt Disney World has the best buffets.
They do, but how can one afford to go into Disney?
$105 to get in the door, followed
by
whatever.
That's
on a low day, not a peak day.
They raise the prices.
Okay. Eric says we have a place in OKC called Lago, which I think is supposed to be super pretentious, but just a basic buffet. Oh, well, that's...
Now, in our local area, we had a couple of people reference 2 Chinese buffets that we've both been to. And
multiple people.
One of them, the locations, I replied back, we stopped going there. They got hit with many health code violations.
Many.
Some massive ones.
Big ones.
Ones we couldn't overlook and just be like, oh, well, okay. And then the other one was, I'm sure they've had their own health code violations, but...
we just don't know about it.
The food was so bad.
Terrible.
At least every time we've gone. So we're going to pass on those again.
Well, that's what bothers me. It bothers me that many of you are listening to The Riot right now, and you're like, oh, I like The Riot. I listen to it. But at the same time, you find those Chinese buffets acceptable.
Yeah.
That bothers me because on some level, that means that your taste, that's good. So then our show, if you think it's good, then it might be really bad.
I think when you go to a restaurant, though, you just want it to work out. So sometimes you're more forgiving when you're there. You just want it to be okay.
That one Chinese buffet, I went. It was like the Chris and Michael buffet because it was a longer drive, and we went over there, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll go.
And you want it to work out? Who doesn't want a new great Chinese food buffet?
I can't remember who said it, but somebody looked at me, and they're like, Obadiah's never coming here again.
I think I said that. There's no way.
You were right, because I went up there, and I was like, okay, first off, between the food either being A, cold, or B, whatever, then that's the place that had the big tub of...
Hot
Cheetos that had been out for days.
You couldn't even bite into them.
Days these Cheetos had been out, along with what I'm pretty sure was the rest of the food.
I also don't think they were actually licensed hot Cheetos. I just think it was,
generic hot Cheetos on a buffet.
Warm Beatos.
Oh, my gosh.
So basically, from these text messages, a good reminder, Amish food is always a good buffet. Thank you for a couple of those. And then the only other things we were looking at is, if you have a casino... That's normally where there's buffets, too.
I don't think I can go to the casino and eat.
I went to the Mandalay Bay one, and that was amazing. But in our local casino, I don't want to do that.
It can't be.
I don't want to do that.
I feel like...
in Vegas, it's one thing, but not if you're not in Vegas.
I feel like... Okay, this is not fair, but I feel like if you go to a casino in Vegas, you went one time and it was fun. I feel like if you're hitting a local casino, it's because you have a problem.
He said that. I didn't say that. Where they're like, if you gamble enough, you get a discount on the food.
It's not fair. That's what I think. I'm just like, That's vacation
life. You can't bring that in your house.
That's exactly right. You're supposed to leave that behind somewhere. And you're like, no, it's just down the street. I just go down there. It's like,
what if it's so good and we're missing out?
The buffet?
Yeah.
I've been missing out.
But that's why they put all the bells and whistles, literally the noises, and then the loud carpet, because they just want you in.
Okay. Here's an idea. What if instead of a buffet, what if you and I just decided that we were just going to go on a bender? We drive out of here and we just go to every restaurant we like and just eat what we want. What do you think about that?
That's like a cheat day.
But the ultimate cheat day. So it'll be like Riot skips work eating everything we ever wanted.
I'm not at the bottom yet, so come and check with me later to see if I've hit that, then we will.
Come and see me when the fundraiser's over.
I know, then maybe we'll do that. I'm not ready, though, to do that.
Thanks for listening to the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Oh no! I missed it! Do it again!
You can hear us live every day on the RadioU network through the RadioU app or at riot.radiou.com.
It's a different colored poof, and that's the best we can do.